Welcome back to the DMZ America podcast, the most patriotic, pro-nationalist, America First podcast anywhere out there. Anyone who says different, we will send a flamethrower drone with red, white, and blue gasoline. Just saying. I'm Ted Rall coming to you from the left.
And I'm Scott Stantis, looking out my window, not hearing any buzzing at the moment, coming to you from the right. So Joe Biden, our president, at least that's what we're told.
President Skeletor.
It's weird. Have you noticed this? I mean, just
well, he does have some good zingers, like when he said that Putin was losing the war in Iraq. I mean, that must have hurt Putin.
Oh, to the marrow. Ouch. Ouch.
And then also Putin had lost the Battle of Fallujah, unbeknownst to Putin. I mean, that's a battle he didn't even know about.
Well, and that's just how incompetent
Putin is.
Putin is.
Yeah.
Have you noticed? I mean, this is a side issue, and we'll just touch on it. But Vice President Harris, have you noticed in the last year, I'd say 10 months to a year, has really righted the ship? I know you're going to like scoff, but
I'm like, what?
No, she has really. I don't know if she's brought in new staff or she's actually started to actually listen because her numbers were so abysmal. She's started to act very presidential and very very in control, very
Scott, have they legalized cannabis there in Alabama?
No, I'm not kidding. Her performance over the last 6 to 10 months has improved.
Oh, you should. I have a few links to send you if you think that. Oh my gosh, she's just still like wallowing in word salad. She's speaking.
She's doing no, but she's
idiocy.
doing. But she's also staying on script a lot more, which is terrible because she reads scripts not great, because she'll read something and say, and America believes and should believe in itself. I mean, it's clearly reading from text. But no, I'm telling you, Ted, I'm telling you, she's doing better. I'm just saying she's doing a hell of a lot better than she was 2 years ago. I mean, by a light year, because you couldn't do much worse. Because she would go into events, she would go into interviews completely and utterly unprepared. And just like you said, just regurgitate word salad that made no sense, had no oomph to it. Now there's some focus. I'm frankly impressed. I think it's too little, too late.
Well, she was just at the Essence, at a panel discussion at the Essence Festival. This is from a few days ago, July. Actually, it's yesterday. And here's what she said. Culture is a revolution of our moment and our time, right? Present culture is the way we express how we're feeling about the moment, and a reflection of joy, because it comes in the morning.
Okay. I mean, no, I'd say
Can we just stipulate that she's a moron?
I think, yeah. I think that's.
Okay.
I think we can talk about.
It Comes in the Morning will be the name of my new hippie retro 60s.
That's my sex tape.
It comes in the morning. Yeah. Wow.
That'll be like I said, that'll be my sex tape title.
All right. I'm glad I found that just in time for the pod here. So listen, I should tee up the Biden thing. So
yeah, let's go.
Basically, what happened was that a federal district court judge in New Orleans, he issued an injunction. His name is Terry Dowdy. He issued a preliminary injunction in relation to a lawsuit filed by the AGs in Louisiana and Missouri. And basically, they asked, this was in response to their request to some of the stuff like that came out in the Twitter files, where the DOJ and the FBI had reached out to companies like YouTube, Meta, and Twitter in order to try to, they said, to suppress conservative ideas, but also to suppress anti-vaxxer stuff, stuff that sort of questions the Russiagate narrative, and so on. And basically, there were some pretty disturbing revelations, like Twitter and other companies routinely received lists of accounts that the federal government wanted to see deleted from and deplatformed, and then they would do it. Other just individual posts would be deleted or flagged or whatever in response to the government. Basically, the Judge Dowdy said, cut it out. You're not allowed to Twitter, Facebook, and so on. You're not allowed to talk anymore to the federal government. The federal government, you're not allowed to reach out to Silicon Valley. You have to shut up. And what's I thought kind of funny to me was, given the fact that the government's been involved in suppressing Americans' free speech on the internet by these means, is that government's defense is that this judge's order represents an act of prior restraint on the free speech rights of, wait for it, the government, their free speech rights to reach out to Twitter and Facebook and tell them to take down your accounts. In other words, it's an act of free speech for me as a government official to call a tech company and have them take down your Twitter account and suppress your free speech. So my free speech is your non-speech, basically.
I'm a little flummoxed by that idea that the government is viewed as an individual with rights of free speech.
And apparently that is expected to prevail when this appears before the U.S. Supreme Court, as it surely will, because the Biden administration has filed a notice of appeal in the Fifth Circuit to send it up to the Supremes.
Whoa, this confuses me a lot. I mean, so much, to the point where I cannot form words. But I guess we live in a country where money is speech. So what the hell? I guess this is
and the
just
government. They make money, so they produce money.
That's got to be it. That's got to be it. That is bananas. That is absolutely. First of all, the federal government should not have been doing this, quite frankly.
No, they should not have. I'm all for. I agree. Even though it's Republicans who are doing this, I totally agree with the judge. I mean, they should not have any contact whatsoever with any telecommunications company. There's no reason for them to, just don't.
Yeah, no, this is so bizarre. Well, you and I are pretty much, okay, I would describe myself as a First Amendment absolutist. Would you say that?
Absolutely. And I would say that about myself as well. I mean, obviously, with the exceptions of libel and slander.
Well, and just, yeah.
Oh, and threatening, like menacing, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, clearly that transcends and that goes to, it actually leaks into criminal activity. But for the most part, yeah, if you have a stupid idea, I want to hear it, because then it lets me know that you're an idiot. That's how we find who the idiots are. You see how this works?
It's like the bright colors on a poisonous snake.
Yeah. Okay. They're not.
Do you know that, like how poisonous animals and insects are more likely to be brightly colored?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, not down here. They're all brown.
Oh, really?
They just want to.
Maybe they're not poisonous. Maybe they're just innocuous, and you're killing innocent snakes.
I don't kill snakes unless they got a rattle.
Okay, Scott, using a flamethrower drone is not not killing. Okay, I know it's cooking, but it's also
snake is delicious. It tastes like chicken. Actually, it does. Why everything tastes like chicken is beyond me. But so you also on the Biden issue, you also just wrote a column you sent out this morning. If you could give the listeners just a quick overview, because I thought it was terrific.
Well, thanks, Scott. I mean, so the title was something along the lines of President Biden plays a progressive on TV. Will progressives be fooled? And I basically argued that the Biden is going to be running in part for re-election on the idea that he's some sort of progressive warrior fighting for progressive values. And the reality is, when you look at the record on things like the $15 minimum wage, student loan forgiveness, abortion rights, and Medicare for all, these are all the big issues that progressive Democrats have been caring about since 2016, since Bernie Sanders articulated those as like the big three plus abortion issues that he was pushing over and over and over and over. And it was so successful, even though Bernie was, of course, cock-blocked by the DNC. DNC. He was
not us.
Not us. We're all pro Bernie here. He did by 2020. he was definitely able. Most of the Democratic rivals on the debate stage had like people like Klobuchar, Buttigieg, and Beto O'Rourke, and so on. They had all completely endorsed these three Bernie planks, or almost all of them. Biden was the least enthusiastic. In the end, he realized he wouldn't be able to govern effectively by ignoring 70% of the Democratic Party. So he decided to sign on that stuff. But he kind of did everything as sort of a lame, like, okay, I'll kind of try. Like student loan forgiveness. He didn't prioritize it at the beginning of his administration. He passed a temporary COVID kind of injunction, but then he had a Democratic control of the House and the Senate in 2021, 2022, didn't use it to pass a law. Then after he lost the Senate, he's like, well, now I've lost the Senate, so there's nothing I can do. So he did this executive order, which pretended that as a king, he had the ability to discharge billions of dollars in federal debt. We all knew that was never going to pass any court challenge, no matter who the judges were. So, and of course, same thing with $15 minimum wage. He's like, look, I passed an edict saying that all federal contractors have to pay $15 an hour. Yeah, big fucking deal. And same thing with abortion. And so basically it's like, look, you can, as a corporatist Democrat from a bank-owned state like Delaware, you can definitely decide that you're not going to give any full-throated support to progressive legislation. But do not try to fucking run for re-election by claiming that you did fight for them, because everybody on the left is paying attention and we know who you are and what you're about, and we're not going to vote for you. We're not going to vote for Trump. We're just not going to turn out.
Right.
We're going to vote for Dr. Cornel West or whoever.
Yeah, whatever. What happened in 2016, which is, what was it, 10 million fewer votes or 4 million fewer votes than happened in 2012, which was like, you had a sitting president then.
Well, also it's 4 million. This was the big one. 4 million fewer Democratic votes in the general than in the primaries. And obviously, everybody who votes in the general. Primary voters are hardcore. Nobody votes in the primary and then decides not to turn up for the general.
Yeah.
They don't forget.
Well, do you think that it'll happen this time? I mean,
I think it's going to happen again. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You don't think that the anti-Trump sentiment especially on the left, was enough because it certainly was enough in 2016.
Well, it was enough
2020.
Yeah. No, I don't think it will be. I think you might not be quite as full-throated as when Hillary Clinton was the candidate in 2016. But I think that the problem for the Democrats is that the more they talk about how dangerous Donald Trump is, all it serves to remind us is, like him or not, and I don't, he was president for 4 years and it wasn't the end of the world. It wasn't good, but the country didn't, cities didn't burn, nothing happened. So, it's a little bit boy who cried political wolf, I think.
Interesting. Sort of like global warming. We just don't really. No, I'm serious. I mean, the apocryphal. In 10 years, if you go back and watch An Inconvenient Truth, the seas will rise 10 feet, and it just doesn't happen. But it survived. But I don't know, man. I think another 4 years of Donald Trump, especially the revenge tour that it will become, is going to be pretty bad and pretty detrimental to the country. But
the choice of vice president will be super important because he's also old and fat.
Yeah, I think he's going to pick. I think Nikki Haley makes a lot of sense.
That's going to help him. That'll probably help. It'll probably be the most helpful vice presidential pick ever. Yeah. I mean, what do you think is the best VP pick in American political history?
Oh gosh,
one that really helped seal the deal. Because like my editor at the Wall Street Journal thinks that vice presidents are inherently boring and make no difference.
They can only make a negative difference, and that was. Obviously Sarah Palin in 2016. In 08. What's his name? Oh golly. Dan Quayle
Mhm.
in 88 almost sunk the boat for George H.W. Bush.
What about positive ones where it was like,
Oh, that makes sense. I think Cheney was, I mean, I know it sounds weird now in hindsight, but at the time it made perfect sense. You had a guy who seemed sort of not completely mature, and you had a guy who was, nothing but mature.
an old hand?
Yeah, an old hand. I think that I think Biden for Obama in '08 made a lot of sense and helped.
Mhm.
It didn't hurt, but who helped?
But I don't think it really. Do you think it put Obama over the finish line? I mean, he had a pretty healthy victory.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he was a good, strong candidate. So you had that, and he was running against a guy who picked Sarah Palin for his running mate. So you had that balance there. I'm trying to think, like 72 was obviously a catastrophe for the Democrats because originally George McGovern picked Eagleton. Eagleton came out that he had mental health issues, which apparently nobody had back then. And so he dumps him for Sergeant Shriver. And that was just another example of an incompetent campaign. I'm trying to think and go back. I think here's one. Johnson, 1960.
Oh yeah.
Really, really solidified that party. And they won by, well, frankly, if they hadn't cheated in Cook County, Illinois, then they wouldn't have won. But okay, let's ignore that for a moment. And also ignore the fact that
It's necrophobia if you think that dead people are not allowed to vote.
And Richard Nixon, to his credit, was approached several times that election night and that morning saying, you should contest this. We should get the lawyers on the planes to Illinois right now. And he said, no, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to win. I don't want to win the presidency that way. Yeah. I don't want to win the presidency that way. George W. Bush, not so much.
Yeah.
Nuts. It's a great question. I think that, Harris kind of got buried. I mean, the 2020
I don't
election
think
was so
she
strange.
really added that much. I mean, really, truly. I think Biden could have picked. He needed someone younger than him, which is to say, anybody who's alive.
Yeah.
And but
yeah,
but he could have gone. I mean, he could have picked. He could have easily picked Elizabeth Warren and been fine.
Yeah, I think that actually clearly would have been a better choice. It didn't hurt him.
Right now, if Elizabeth Warren were the sitting vice president, she'd be a full partner in the administration. And I mean, no one would doubt, even if they disliked her, that she had she was qualified to step up and take care of and fill it.
Yeah, we don't feel that way about Vice President Harris. You're absolutely right.
All right.
Okay. All right,
Scott. So where can people find all things Scott Stantisian?
Go to gocomics.com/Scott Stantis, one word. Go to gocomics.com/Prickly City to check out my comic strip. You can go to chicagotribune.com and check out the work I do for them. And you can go to Censor Clip. Both Ted and I and some other of our friends are involved in that. And they're like mini podcasts, 30 seconds to 5 minutes long. And I strongly urge you to go and download that app because I think you'll find it very, very, very interesting.
Yeah,
Ted, cool. Where do we find all things Ted Rall?
You can go to rall.com, whowhatwhy.org, sputniknews.com, and you can listen to my radio show, The Final Countdown, co-hosted with Manila Chan on Sputnik News, which you can also check out on Rumble. And if you go on Rumble, you don't have to listen to it in real time. You can just listen to the most recent one, which is probably more convenient. That's probably how I would do it. Anyway, 10 a.m. to 12 noon, Monday through Friday. That's Eastern time. American time, not no. Communist time like on the West Coast.
Central time is America time. That's flyover country.
That's right. Well, that's true. Central time is the middle, the dead center of the country. That's why all the flamethrower drones are sort of focused there as targets. Well, mainly that's because people on the East Coast are sending them there. But anyway, that I digress as I do. Scott, always a pleasure.
As always.
Next week.
All right, man. Ciao.
Right.
Peace.